Good evening, friends. I think it's time we will start. So we are going to look at a small revision of what we did yesterday. Like my friends Sanjay Mansukani said, Samkhya is a philosophy wherein between Samkhya and science, there's a very thin line. We must know that all these ancient texts, they were supposed to be transmitted by word. Hence, they were not written in prose form, like we have science today. It was all written in the form of poetry. It was written on a particular meter. We call it as an Arya meter or Anushtup or Gayatri, like that. So there's a very thin line. So what is important with darshan like this is how it is interpreted. So the darshan shastra becomes extremely important. And to learn Samkhya or any darshan shastra, you need commentaries. So commentaries take you to the actual experience of what the philosophy is talking about. Now, what is the importance of Samkhya? It is pure science. It does not talk anything about beliefs. It doesn't talk about faith. It doesn't talk about anything. It is pure science. You do this, you get it. Or you explore this, you get insight, and you transform. Liberation is purely through knowledge, insight, distinction. Now, one of the key cornerstones of Sankhya Darshan is manifestation. Manifestation, how world came into existence, and how a being or a person, the soul, gets entangled with manifestation, experiences the pain of creation, manifestation, and somewhere down the line it says, enough is enough. I want to be liberated from this. So Sankhya looks at manifestation and enjoying it, and also liberating yourself to your original state. It helps you to see the original state. Just to touch upon the earlier part of manifestation. See, today in a material world, money is important. Resources are important. We can manifest most of our desires using Sankhya. So I want you to listen to Sankhya from the background of this is what I want to achieve in my life. And how can Sankhya help? As we know, Sankhya is also a cause and effect. It's a philosophy that touches upon cause and effect. How effect is dependent on the cause, and how effect is already in the cause. We will look at it when we revise some of these slides. So the effect is what you want to manifest in your life in future. You define it clearly from the Sankhya background and see how you can move up the ladder of transformation or liberation. Understand each distinction at every level and see how you can apply it to life. Yesterday, I remember somebody asked a question, how is it useful? I related to that question like saying, everything is, we are made up of gunas. We are made of prakriti. Our gunas keep changing at the physical level, at the mental level, at every level. So I was just mentioning, if you are too much of rajas, you are agitated, you do a few asanas or you do some exercise, go for a walk or go to the gym and have a small workout. Your rajas comes down, you feel calmer. But if you are tamasic, indolent, dull, what you have to do is do some pranayama, practice pranayama. It brings down the tamas. So practice plus theory of Sankhya will help you a lot in moving in life. At the same time, you can explore some of the Western science, like master key system. Master key system was published long back, somewhere in the early 1900s. And if you read master key system, you'll see that it is pure Sankhya. It talks about Sankhya. It doesn't use the word Sankhya, but every principle that it talks on can be traced to this esoteric science of Sankhya. Okay. With that, let me start the presentation. And I would invite you to look at your life from the background of what I'm going to present. And if you have any questions, please write down the questions. When we have, at the end of the session, we'll have sufficient time to answer your questions. So we'll touch upon what is the importance and uniqueness of Sankhya. Every philosophy has its own uniqueness. It each stands alone. There is nothing else that can be told about this in other philosophies. So Sankhya has certain uniqueness. It is a fascinating philosophy. And as I mentioned yesterday, there is no higher philosophy than Sankhya. And there is no higher practice than yoga. So it's an esoteric science that bridges science and religion. What is religion? We think that, it's based on belief, faith. No, it talks about pure religion. And it bridges our intellectual understanding to the concept of religion in a very scientific manner, in a systematic, stepwise manner. It bridges. It is prior to Big Bang of physics. This is a modern approach where physics tries to explain how the universe was created. It was created. It started with the Big Bang. How the Big Bang happened, when it happened. Okay, they have a certain timeline, but actually the scientific basis of Big Bang is not completely explained by physics. But a similar concept is there in Samkhya, but it gives the overall picture. Ultimately, the manifestation from Prakriti, which we say as the source, started with movement, started with energy, started with a rearrangement of energy that was in equilibrium earlier, which due to some excitation, due to some influence, there is the Big Bang. Then the manifestation starts. How it starts, we look at. So it's a fact of liberation, true freedom. Like I was mentioning, Samkhya helps you to attain goals in your life. It helps you to enjoy life. At the same time, once you start looking at what is life, what is the purpose of life, why am I living here? Why did I come here? Why is that my life is unique compared to others? Why I suffer certain things which others are not suffering? Then you look at Kaivalya, that is liberation. So it also talks about, it is not based on any belief system. It doesn't say believe in this, believe in that. It doesn't talk anything. It talks pure science. It talks pure knowledge. You go through the knowledge step by step, and you can achieve what you want in life. Either manifestation of riches in your life or the ultimate liberation or true freedom. It's the mother of Yoga Sutras, theory and practice. Sankhya is the best theory, and Yoga Sutras are the best in terms of practice. Each one supports the other. In fact, the foundation of Yoga Sutras is Sankhya, because Yoga Sutras also talk a lot about gunas, about intelligence, about various states of the mind, which has a sound basis in Sankhya. Sankhya and Yoga Sutras offer a complete system. Read Sankhya and also complete with study of Yoga Sutras. You'll see that there's a tremendous synergy. The alchemy between Sankhya and Yoga Sutra is complete. You will feel that one fulfills the other. Each one supports the other. It answers questions like, who am I? Why I suffer? How do I liberate myself? It shows the final destination, yet enjoy creation. Every step is an explorative step. It also is an experiential step, which helps you to enjoy and also liberate. So Sankhya and Yoga Sutras are two of the 6 Astik Darshana. What is an Astik Darshana? Astik Darshana are those that accept the authority of the Vedas. The beauty of our ancient sciences is, even though they contradict each other, there's a beauty in the way they contradict each other. It is a tremendous exercise for our intellect to try to kind of synergize or create the ultimate alchemy within us. So you have a standalone system like Sankhya, which does not believe in God, but there are other systems which acknowledge the existence of God, like Ishvara. Yoga Sutras accept Ishvara as the special Purusha. You can call him God or special Purusha. So we give our respects to Sage Kapila, who is the founder of the Sankhya Sutras. The original text is not available. The earliest earliest that we have, which is the foundation book or the available source, is the Sankhya Karikas by Ishwara Krishna. Sankhya is mentioned in Gita and Upanishads. In fact, in Gita, Krishna mentions in the Divine Glories, the 10th chapter, he says, among the luminaries, I am the sun. Among these serpents, celestial serpents, I am Vasuki. And among the thinkers, I am Kapila. That mentioned by Krishna himself, you will know that the greatness of the Rishi Kapila Muni. Sankhya means number. Sankhya means number. What has number got to do with a transformation system? It means that there are certain definite tattvas. Sankhya has got 25 tattvas. If you get the distinction of the 25 tattvas, it will be extremely easy for you to relate to your life and use this as a tools to transcend, to transform, and ultimately liberate yourself from life, from whatever life you are living. Also, some means complete, perfect. That means it leaves no loose ends. It answers about your life completely. Kya means knowledge. Some kya means complete knowledge. Also, knowledge about what? Knowledge about realism. It is not an illusion. It is not a concept. It talks about something real as you. As you can see yourself, you can touch yourself, you can touch the table. It talks about life as real as it. Realism, or another meaning is, it means that which cannot be further negated or divided. It is ultimate. Also, another definition of realism is what was, is still is, and will always be. That means past, present, and future, it exists with no change. There is no further transformation. There is no further change. You come to the pattern of it. That is real. Sankhya is dualistic realism. Dualistic means two. The two realities are Prakriti, which is matter, is also called as the non-conscious principle, and Purusha, spirit, self, Atman, or conscious principle. So Prakriti is the matter principle. When you look at the matter manifestation, you look into Prakriti. But who is actually experiencing it as a witness is the consciousness. Like you are a consciousness, I am a consciousness. Everybody listening to this is a consciousness. You are the Purusha. You are the spirit. You are the conscious principle. So Sankhya looks at cause and effect relationship. It's a beautiful relationship, cause and effect relationship. So with respect to Sankhya, this cause and effect relationship is called as Satkaryavad. Satkaryavad is a theory of causation. What does it say? It says effect implicitly pre-exists in the cause. Effect already existed in the cause. So it looks at potential. That means anything that comes into existence, it can be a book, it can be a pencil, that was a potent cause that was latent in the cause itself. And that is why the potency comes out as an effect. If that effect was not there in the cause, it would not ultimately result in that effect. So what does it further say? Satkaryavad has two theories. One is called as Parinamavad, that is, effect is real transformation of cause. Sankhya looks at Satkaryavad in the form of Parinam. What does it say? Ultimately, there are two realities which actually constitutes the world. So when it constitutes the world, it looks at Prakriti. What is Brahma Vivartavad? Brahma Vivartavad is the argument of Adi Shankar. He says the cause has not transformed into a concrete, real transformation. It is only an appearance. Like the Vedantins give the example of rope and snake. So Brahma Vivartavad says that the world is an appearance. Or with little caution, you can say illusion. Why with caution? Because if I say stone is an illusion, and if somebody hits you with a stone, it will pain. But what Adi Shankara tells is the stone is appearing as something else. Stone is not, it calls it as mithya. That means it's unreal. It does not say it does not exist. It says it's unreal. But whereas Sankhya tells anything that is an effect is real in itself. It is an end in itself. Everything has come from Prakriti. That's why we call it as Prakriti Parinamavad. That means particular effect from particular cause. What is particular effect from particular cause? This is called as the efficient cause. The pot is in the mud. It does not mean physically the pot is in the mud, but the potency or the potential was already existing in the mud. And now all mud cannot be made into pots. There is a specific type of mud which can only be made into pot. That is called as a specific or the efficient cause. Table is implicit in the wood. That means to take a log, the table is already in. Again, all wood cannot be transformed into table. It has to have a certain workability of the wood. Only then table is possible. So that particular wood has implicitly inside it, inherently inside it, the table. So what Sankhya says is when you look at an effect, you can identify a cause wherein this effect is latent or potent in that cause. So oil is in the seed, not sand. So the effect of oil coming out of is only present in the seed, but it is not present in sand. So Satkaryava does not mean any effect can come from any cause. No, an effect has to be present as a potential in the cause itself. Otherwise, it cannot become an effect. I'll give a funny example. Two human beings, they will not be able to reproduce a dog. Dog is not cannot be an effect of the conjunction of two human beings because dog is not potent inside as a latent cause in human beings. Only human beings will come out of human beings. So proofs of Prakriti. So we'll go through this. So what it says is Prakriti, as we know, is the material cause. It is what causes matter. Then later we will see how Purusha gets entangled with Prakriti. There should be a cause of the universe, and anything that is finite cannot be a cause themselves. For example, if I take my mobile and show you, It is a finite thing. It cannot be a cause of itself. So there has to be a different cause. So there should be a cause, and anything that is finite cannot be a cause themselves. So the mobile is an effect which is potent in another cause. So there is a definite cause. There is a definite material. There must be a common source composed of gunas from which world arises. Now, what does this say is the world is composed of gunas. We will see that anything in the world outside is composed of gunas. And if it is composed of gunas, the mother source, the ultimate source from which it came, must also have gunas in it. So that is another proof of the Prakriti has constituted of three gunas. Effects. Effects or objects have a potent cause. They evolve out of the implicit hidden cause. The implicit potential cause of universe is Prakriti. That means the source of everything. Like table was implicit in the wood, the source of the entire universe. All effects are limited, so they cannot be their own cause. Prakriti is the manifested cause. What much it says? An effect has a cause, and this cause can have another cause. When you look back at it, the primary cause, where all this ends, is Prakriti. Okay, the unmanifested cause. It is the source of, or unmanifested means avyakta. You are not able to see it. Prakriti is something which you cannot see, but you can imply, you can infer, anuman, by this effect. From the effects, we talk about the cause, and the cause is Prakriti. Unity of universe points to a single cause. All material cause, whether in destruction or causing it, it traces back to one single cause. Okay, the ultimate cause, wherein further you cannot divide it. And that cause, the primary cause, is a single cause called Prakriti. So we looked at Prakriti. So you have to kind of little ruminate over it, so that it gels with your thinking. But primarily get to know that apply Satyayava. An effect that you see in your life or anything outside, in your job, in your relationship with people, there is that effect has a potent cause. And this effect has got a latent cause in the a potent cause in the cause itself. Okay, otherwise it cannot be a effect. So what is Prakriti? We are looking back again, a state of equilibrium of gunas. Prakriti is not different from gunas. It is not made up of gunas. Prakriti is the gunas. It is not atomic. It is not particular. It has no shape. It is not particular, but Shakti. It is force. It is a force which acts independently. Okay, it's an independent force. Now, why do I mention this? Many times gunas are looked at as if it is a party or it is some form. No, it is a potent energy. That's why Prakriti is also called as Shakti, Parvati, and Purusha is called as Shiva. So Prakriti is gunas. Beyond that, we don't say gold is composed of gold. Gold itself is itself. Gold in itself is inherent. You call it as gold only. So Prakriti is equal to gunas. Keep this in mind as we explore further. Prakriti means gunas. It is gunas. And gunas don't exist in isolation. That is, let me mention here, the three gunas are sattva, rajas, and tamas. They don't exist in isolation. Outside in the manifested world, they don't exist in isolation, but they can exist in homogeneous form inside Moola Prakriti, this primordial source of Prakriti, which is Moola Prakriti. So outside in the world, they don't exist in isolation. They exist together. They compete with each other. The example is they are intertwined like rope. They bind us. So when you look at a rope, when you explore a strand, you miss the rope. That means you mix Prakriti. So it is entwined like rope. That means each one supports the other. Sometimes one dominates the other. Even in this domination, they cooperate with each other. Their function is for a single purpose. It's a beautiful example. Their function is for a single purpose, like that of a lamp. So the example is where the flame is sattva, rajas is oil, tamas is wick. Everything in harmony. So let us explore the gunas further. What is sattva? Sattva means real or existent, produces joy, light and bright, buoyant, color is white. Now, why am I saying this qualities? Because gunas are imperceptible. You cannot see the gunas. You can only know the gunas by its effect. It is like an effect. Only by the effect you imply the gunas. Let me give you an example. Suppose I have a live chicken in my hand. Chicken. And opposite, I see a window, an open window. I throw this chicken inside the window, and big O comes back the chicken. And what comes into my hand is tandoor chicken. A live chicken became a tandoor chicken. Now, what is inside the window? You see, it's fire. So even though I don't see fire, what I can imply is by the tandoor chicken in my hand, it is fire inside. So gunas can only be implied. It can only be seen by the effects. So these are the effects. So whenever in the when you get up or you're being with somebody, you feel light, you feel very bright, you are very buoyant. Know that you are in sattva. Your dominant mood is sattvic. So what is rajas? Rajas is active in nature. It has the principle of movement. Foulness. What is foulness? It is agitation. This foulness as agitation can be in anything. It can be in relationship. It can be in politics. It can be in business. It can be in any sphere of life. It can also be in the sphere of material science. Okay, this is foulness. Principle of motion. Rajas is what creates movement. It is restless, feverish, stimulating. It goads you into action. That is the quality of rajas. If you are very active, if you see somebody else active, know that rajas is expressing itself. There is a lot of rajas in it. So chala, mobile, his color is red. What is tamas? It is the opposite of sattva. Exact opposite of sattva. It means darkness. Like you have light, illumination, sparkling. Now this is darkness. The principle of inertia. Inertia is staying where you are, staying put. It is you being in an orbit. You continuously be in the same orbit. You don't move out of the orbit. The planets moving around the sun. It is a kind of inertia. That means they cannot get out of the orbit. Earth, the moon spinning around Earth. It is a principle of inertia. Produces apathy, indifferent, ignorance, sloth, confusion, bewilderment. Opposite of rajas as arresting activity. Gurutva, heavy. Avarnaka. This is one important concept here as avarnaka. Enveloping. See, sometimes, you experience your experience of life or in a situation as if some heavy cloud has come over you. You are not able to think clearly. You are not able to emote freely. Okay, there is a certain congestion. It's a certain kind of strangulation of your intellect. That is called an avarna. It is the avarna power, the power of enveloping you into a kind of darkness, no possibility. That is called as avarna. The color is dark. Anything dark gray, even dark blue, you can say it is tamas. So interdependence of gunas. Sattva and tamas needs rajas to move. Tamas and sattva in itself, they do not have the principle of movement. They cannot cause without the help of rajas. You will see that how rajas later in the presentation, you'll see that it is what kicks creation into existence, manifestation. The gunas cooperate with each other. Like we have the example of lamp. The objects are different into proportion of gunas. Why objects? Each human being on earth is unique and different because of the composition of gunas. All objects have gunas. Any object that you take has a specific guna as a dominant in it. But it will not be composed of a single guna. Always remember, manifestation as a human being or an animal or a material will have all the three gunas. It will be a challenge how we can identify these gunas in material as well as in our life. All objects have gunas. Therefore, all comes from Prakriti. So we looked at the proof of Prakriti. Prakriti is composed of gunas. That is the source of gunas. So when all matter has got gunas as their constituent material or the quality, it comes from Prakriti because Prakriti is the original. So objects have guna, subjects have guna. Every object is different from due to dominating. Let us take an example. This example is more situational. When you present rose to a lover, it is sattvic. There is celebration, there is joy, there is happiness, there is bliss. Same rose, if you give it to a patient, he is going to feel a little agitated. He is going to feel sad. He is going to feel apathetic. He's going to he is going to kind of experience unhappiness. Okay, that will give them. Now look at the gardener. Every day he is seeing roses. Sometimes he will trample upon the roses. That means a gardener is indifferent to the roses. All he is interested is cutting it, packing it, and dispatching it for selling. So that is tamas. So this is an example of sattva, rajas, and tamas. Laptop. But it helps in communication. Right now, it's helping me in communication. I enjoy it. I love it. I am experiencing happiness with it. And that is a quality of sattva. The same laptop, if it is not working, I feel unhappy. Something goes wrong. The connectivity goes bad or the battery goes down. Then I experience unhappiness. I experience agitation. It is rajas. So what about tamas? So if there is somebody who doesn't know anything about the laptop, what is his experience? What will be his guna? His experience will be indifferent. Effect is indifferent. So it's the quality of tamas. So Sankhya concludes gunas are imperceptible. You cannot see them. They are inferred from effects. All things are composed from gunas. Differences are due to the proportion of gunas. This is a very interesting thing, proportion of gunas. When you can identify that anything is constituent of one dominating guna, you can alter the guna in such a way the manifestation changes. So there are certain processes, material processes, as well as subjective processes, wherein we can allow the domination of or the predominance of one guna over the other, which helps you in transformation. Each one of us are dominated by one of the gunas. Okay, and in a situation, so morning you can be sattvic. When you get up in the morning, you have rested well. You will experience sattvic. You will feel very rested. You are alert. You are full of energy. So but by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, you are already hurrying into life. Then rajas takes over. You are agitated. You are excited. You are getting into action. By the end of the day, when you are closing the day, what happens is tamas takes over. You want to rest. You want to relax. You want to have a cup of tea and just, spend some good time with your friend. That is tamas. So nature of the thing. So good, intelligent, pure. Then it is dominance of tattva. Bad, active, impure. Dominance of rajas. Indifferent, slothful, or neutral. It is the dominance of tamas. So gunas are constantly changing. The dominance is changed. You cannot eliminate any of it. You can rise or fall. So there's a caution here. You can rise or fall. See, the way the gunas operate, you will never know when one of the gunas will dominate. You have seen people who are extremely peaceful, contented, suddenly getting involved in a violent act. Why does it happen? Because at some delicate moment, either rajas or tamas takes over. And the effect is, a kind of disaster. So yoga says you have to be very careful of your sadhana. You have to be very aware. You will never know when you will slip. We have so many stories in Puranas wherein an enlightened or a sadhu or a sage who is doing some sadhana, somewhere in the ultimate stage, he falls to deception and he slides down the ladder of ascension. Okay, so you have to be careful. So change is heterogeneous and homogeneous. What is heterogeneous change? Heterogeneous change means different uh, combination and permutation of gunas. Okay, the balance of the different percentage of gunas, that is what creates manifestation. Heterogeneous mix is what creates manifestation. Homogeneous is when sattva remains as sattva, rajas remains as rajas, and tamas remains as tamas. That is a state of equilibrium. The primordial state of prakriti before it starts manifestation is in a homogeneous state. That means no guna is dominating the other. No, there's no conflict. There's no cooperation feature. They exist independent of itself. It is homogeneous. So right now, as you sit and listen, you are a composition of these three gunas. Now, how do you make it homogeneous? I'm just creating an illustration for you. How to make it homogeneous? One of the methods of making close to homogeneous is when you sit in meditation, do a process. Then you see that rajas comes down, sattva comes down, everything goes to a kind of equilibrium, wherein nothing dominates the other. It is a state of homogeneous. So transformation is how uniform you can make your gunas. That is what Krishna explains in the Gita, who is a Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna, who is unchangeable in any of the situation, means he has got the power, the mastery over his gunas. That means he does not allow anything to dominate. What dominates in the Sthita Prajna is standalone consciousness. So heterogeneous creates the world. Homogeneous, by yoga and sadhana, it liberates you. So it happens in meditation. Sattva goes back to sattva, rajas goes to rajas, tamas goes to tamas. So example, it is like the lake becoming clear of ripples. A clear lake, a placid lake. When you throw a stone at it, it causes ripples. And it takes some time for the ripple to settle down. And after the ripple settles down, it takes some more time for all the dirt to settle down. So when the lake is very clear, where you can see through the water, you can see the base of the lake, And also you can see what is on the floor of the lake. It is an example of the homogeneous state of the lake. So that is when there is no movement in any of the layers. They remain as they are. They don't dominate over the other. They don't mix with each other. Okay? So it's simply an example and illustration to get you an experience of what it can be. Again, don't think of gunas as good, bad, or inferior and superior. Rajas is good. When you are in the battlefield, Rajas is extremely good. You have to fight with all your energy. And so there must be a domination of sattva so that you can think clear in the battlefield. At the same time, tamas is not bad. But if you go to the bar and just boost yourself, then tamas is bad. But when you lie down and you want to sleep, relax, tamas is beautiful. It can give you wonderful dreams. Tamas is good. Okay. So don't think of gunas as good, bad, inferior, or superior. In fact, the entire human beings are classified into the varna system is based on gunas. If you are a man who is sattva is dominating predominantly or majority of the time, you are called as a brahmana. So a brahmana may have about 75 to 80% of sattva dominating, but the rest of it is distributed to rajas and tamas. So you have a kshatriya. Kshatriya has got less of sufficient sattva, but sizable rajas in it, okay, and less of tamas. So you see that how it affects the quality of the human being, and also it affects your profession, function of gunas. So proper working needs rajas. When you talk, it is rajas. You cannot talk without rajas. In fact, when you sit and meditate, digestion requires rajas. There is no rajas. Tamoguna brings stability. In fact, you can walk on earth because of gravity. Gravity is tamoguna. If there was no gravity, you'll be floating in the air. So tamas, which gives a kind of inertia, it keeps you stable. Tama helps you to be in place. Tamas helps relaxation and sleep. You sit and meditate, all gunas are required. So there is no escape from gunas until you are liberated. The best thing is how you can keep them in a healthy balance. The function of gunas, when equilibrium is established, some gunas overpower. They start the process of evolution. So evolution starts when one of the gunas overpower. When one of the gunas overpower, especially rajas, they overpower, it starts to sets the motion, sets the manifestation into process. They start the process of evolution. Total sattva, rajas, and tamas can never be created nor destroyed, nor decreased or increased. So what it says is, for the manifestation of the entire universe, there is sufficient rajas, tamas, and sattva. It can neither be increased nor decreased, but the dominance may vary. So we are looking at the Upanishads, which mentions the Samkhya, especially the Sweta Svatara Upanishad is called as a Samkhya Upanishad. Samkhya salutes Prakriti. So Prakriti, so we look at it, what it is: unborn, not cause, not effect, produces, it nurtures, color red, white, and black. What does it mean it is not cause? That means it is mula. It's mula Prakriti. Causation stops at Prakriti. It is not an effect. It is not an effect of some other cause. That is what it says. It is neither cause nor effective. So Purusha, second reality. Now we are coming to a concept, of Purusha. We have been only talking cursorily about consciousness and all. We will look at what actually Purusha is. Purusha is second reality. Kindly recall, Samkhya talks about dualism. That means there are two realities. That explains the universe. What exists in the world is one matter, one realism composed of matter. The other is consciousness. That is Purusha. It is called as soul, self, spirit, subject, knower. Neither body, senses, or brain. Now, most of us are identified with the body. We think we are the body. We are the senses. We are the brain. We are the movement of the thought process in our head. We identify ourselves with the thought. But know that all this body, senses, everything is part of Prakriti. It is matter. We will come to that a little later. But why it is matter? It is not mind. It is not ego. It is not intellect. It is conscious itself. It is consciousness itself. Like we say, Prakriti is guna itself. It is not composed of gunas. It is gunas only. So Prakriti is consciousness. It is not composed of consciousness. It is not a constituent of consciousness. It is consciousness itself. The ultimate knower and pure subject. Okay? So it is a silent witness, ever emancipated. Neutral seer, beyond gunas. Guna is the attribute of Prakriti. It is the nature of Prakriti. It is Prakriti. but seer is beyond gunas. So Purusha is second reality. Object. Now, what is the basis of Purusha? See, everything in the world, when it is created, an object, any object that is created, can it use itself? Why should it be created at all? It is created because it has to be of some use to somebody. So object cannot see itself, nor can use itself. So there has to be a user or there has to be a seer. So that is where the Purusha comes in. There must be somebody to use it. So let us look at logically, objects of Prakriti cannot be enjoyed by Prakriti. Prakriti creates something. It creates a tree or it creates any other substance. It cannot be enjoyed by Prakriti. Prakriti has no use for its products, but it creates its product because it has to be enjoyed by somebody. There must be someone beyond Prakriti. This is Purusha. So they bring in the concept of Purusha to state that a material cause and a manifestation is useless without there is a Purusha. So arguments for the existence of Purusha. So let us look at the arguments which say the arguments for existence of Purusha. Why do you say Purusha exists? The first is the teleological end. Teleological means purpose. Everything has a purpose. A laptop has a purpose. A book has a purpose to write on it. So, what is the teleological end purpose? Prakriti evolves to serve Purusha. The logical end of Purusha or Prakriti to evolve, to manifest, is to serve Purusha. That is the purpose of Prakriti. Otherwise, there is no end to that. There is no purpose. So, the end purpose is Prakriti creates for the enjoyment of Purusha, to serve Purusha. Logical. What is the logical basis of Purusha? We say Purusha is gunaless, the absence of three gunas and other properties. Logical. Why we say it logical? Because it is pure consciousness. It has no gunas. It is pure consciousness. Logically, it is opposite of Prakriti because there is no gunas in it. It is not subjected to change. Though it can misidentify with the change, it is not subjected to change. Ontological or metaphysical. There has to be a self as a foundation. Anything that is created on earth or anywhere, there has to be a controller. There is somebody who created it. Who creates it? Who is the Adhisthana? Who is the controller? Who is the creator? For example, a scientist, when you see an invention, there has to be a guy behind it with intelligence or uses intelligence to put it together. So ontologically, has to be a foundation. Ethical existence, the ethical proof for existence of Purusha is, say, we experience pleasure, pain, and bewilderment or indifference. This experience, it itself it creates an experiencer, but behind this experience, there's an experiencer who experiences all these things. So it presupposes an entity which experiences all this pain and pleasure, okay, which is constituent of guna. So one side is the pain and the other is the experiencer of the pain. So it also points out the existence of Purusha. Desire for liberation implies existence of a Purusha. So when somebody is and an experiencer is when there is an experience of suffering, there is also a experiencer who says, I want to liberate myself. There is an entity, there is a consciousness, there is somebody behind it which says, I want to be liberated. That means it is different from the suffering. And there is the sufferer. So the existence of the sufferer implies that there is a Purusha behind. Okay? So Purusha is second reality. So there must be someone to see, there must be someone to enjoy. Creation has no meaning if there is no one to see it. Inventor wants his creation to be used. Purusha, here the inventor is Prakriti. It's to be used by Purusha. Purusha is experiencing, seeing, enjoying. He is beyond gunas. All Purushas are same. It is called as qualitative monism. Like we say in some of the transformation sciences, everybody is all complete and perfect. When you come onto the earth, you are all complete and perfect. You come with a potential that you are all complete and perfect. That means all Purushas have the same quality of consciousness. There is no difference between one Purusha and another Purusha in terms of potential. As a Purusha, as consciousness, it is called as qualitative monism. You share the same quality. They have the same quality. There are many Purushas for liberation. That means Gunashekar, is a different Purusha. Sanjay Mansutan is a different Purusha. As many people you see, they are independent Purushas. Ultimately, if you are liberated, you exist as a Purusha. You exist as an individual Purusha. Even after Pralaya, you exist as Purusha. That it is not like you merge into one thing. Samkhya does not believe into merging of one thing. You remain as an individual. You remain as a single entity, as a pure consciousness. Each Purusha has to aspire. Now, for liberation, each person has to aspire. Now, the explanation for Each one of us is a different Purusha being. We will come to that a little bit later. One liberated does not mean all are liberated. Okay, let me take it up here. Each Purusha has to aspire. Friends, if you see that each one of us is a different Purusha, why? Because each one of us carry a different body. Each one of us carry a different span of life. Each one of us have a different defect. And if we say all Purushas are one, if one Purusha gets entangled, that means all Purushas get entangled. Or if one Purusha gets liberated, it does not mean all Purushas will get liberated. So it tells about the multiplicity of Purushas. If self were one, so we are forwarding this argument of multiple Purushas. Sankhya believes in multiple Purushas. It does not believe in one single Brahman. Okay? Again, let us not go into that. It is also a pure science, the fundamental science. It is also very convincing. So in Sankhya, we are all different Purushas. But so if self, the argument is if there was only one Purusha, if somebody argues, no, if it is everyone has the same quality, it has to be one Purusha, then bondage of oneself means bondage of all, as I mentioned earlier. Liberation of oneself means liberation for all. Activity of one would determine activity of all. That means I pick up a pen, all Purushas will pick up pen. You know, if I walk down something a place, it will everybody will walk. So that means there is multiplicity. If there's one Purusha gets into an action, every Purusha will also get an action. That means it does not accept the individuality of the Purusha. So, but if each one's activity is different, then it supports the theory that each Purusha is different. Activity of one would determine activity of all. If there was only one single Purusha. Philosophy is individual approach. Each one of us have go through different pain. All our pains, each one experiences its own individualistic, special, exclusive pain. So philosophy then approach towards life becomes more individual because each one of us are constituted different to know reality of how things come into existence. So each one has to aspire. Each one has to aspire for liberation. So liberation is an individual thing. It is not. It is not that each one has to aspire individually. It is with his own individual approach. So to know reality of how things come into existence, then we will know where to go. How we know how reality happens, then we work back the causality and we will know where to go to liberate ourselves. So all these proofs are for the existence of individual Purushas. Okay? So Prakriti, dynamic, always moving, equilibrium of gunas. Liberation is Prakriti stops for me. Now what is liberation? Liberation is when Prakriti stops for you. So Sanjay gets liberated means Prakriti stops for him. The dance is over. In his self, in his constitution as a being, there is a balance of the gunas. He accesses Mula Prakriti and goes beyond Mula Prakriti to access Purusha. So once established in Purusha, you don't come back. That is liberation. When Prakriti stops. Prakriti stops individually for that person who is liberated. For the rest of them, it will be dancing. It will be manifesting because of the imbalance of the gunas. One guna dominating the other. So wherever we are today, we are still caught in the entrapment of gunas. Okay. So liberation means Prakriti stops for me. The king who is watching Prakriti dancing, now Prakriti knows, king has realized himself. The dance is over. What will Prakriti do? The king is no more interested in the dancer. So the dancer will leave the stage. So that is what is liberation. Prakriti stops manifesting for me. Prakriti stops, no more manifestation. This is the balance of gunas. Existence is heterogeneous change. Whatever is happening outside, same thing can become a different guna. One guna, there is a dominance of one guna now, there is a dominance of another guna next. So that is what is the heterogeneous change. So look back here, friends, when you go through the Yoga Sutras, in chapter 1 and 17th verse, it talks about Samprajnata Samadhi. Samprajnata Samadhi, okay, and Asamprajnata Samadhi little later. Now, the balance of gunas happens when you go through Samprajnata Samadhi. The process gets attained. And from Samprajnata Samadhi, wherein the object is still evident, there is an existence of an object, there is time and space. But when you move beyond that into Asamprajnata Samadhi, that is when you experience Kaivalya. That is when you experience the balance of the gunas. Now, for it is just a moment. It is for a moment it happens, but again, one or two of these gunas dominate and you come back to life. The day when you are able to fully see yourself, fully be in the state of Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. In this state where the gunas are completely balanced, that when you have total liberation. Otherwise, you experience many satorics, many liberation when you go into meditation. So it is like, keep putting the deposit. Every time you meditate, you are depositing something. And one day you see that your gala box is full of that one. And that is liberation. Sattva is the principle of manifestation. Rajas is held in balance by tamas. If Rajas vibrates, other two also vibrate, resulting in evolution. Now, we will come back to the original question, how manifestation happens. Where are we? What's the time now? Okay. So how does manifestation happen? So there are different commentaries. Now, Purusha, Prakriti was in a state of equilibrium. Okay. Rajas equals tamas equals Sattva. No creation. This Mola Prakriti, state of Mola Prakriti. Unmanifested, avyakta. Okay. Now, how does Mola Prakriti gets into the mode of creation? When Purusha comes in proximity with Prakriti, what happens is Rajas gets activated. Energy. Rajas gets activated. Now, I want to illustrate this, how Rajas gets activated. Okay? Why only Rajas gets activated in the beginning? Let us take the example of three persons sharing a room. Stay with me, it's a beautiful illustration. There is one guy who goes to bed at 9:30 p.m. and wakes up at 5 a.m. There is another guy who goes to bed at 8 p.m. and wakes up at 9 a.m. There is another guy, he has no definite time. He comes late, maybe gets up early, he's restless. The first guy is the sattvic guy. The second guy is the tamasic guy. The sattvic guy goes to bed at right time, gets up at the right time. Tamasic guy, he sleeps a lot. He is sound in his sleep. Now this guy, Rajasic guy, comes in the middle of the night. Who do you think gets disturbed first? The Tamasic guy is not going to be disturbed. The Sattvic guy will get disturbed. So it starts with Rajas. It begins with Rajas. The guy enters the room and he disturbs Sattva. Then after Sattva is disturbed, Tamas gets disturbed. So there is a lot of reason how now it is subject to debate. Again, another example is how anything gets activated. For example, when I smile at you, the alchemy inside you changes. When another consciousness looks at another consciousness, a small action of smile excites you. It churns the energy. Okay. So this illustration this example illustrates how Rajas disturbs Sattva, and Sattva is the element that comes out of Mula Prakriti. The first element that comes out of Mula Prakriti is called as Mahat. Mahat, or the great principle. It is composed of sattva. Sattva comes out first. It doesn't mean only sattva comes out of Mul Prakriti. It also comes with all the three, because all the three are connected together. But the primary principle Mahat is composed most of sattva. Now, I'll give another example of how Rajas gets activated in Mula Prakriti. Just imagine there's a house, beautiful house, but nobody seems to be in that house. The gate is open, the door is open. Now you approach this house, a beautiful house. Now you want to enter the house, because there's nobody there, there's no warning sign. But from the distance, you see a dog sleeping there, a dog sleeping inside the house. Now, the dog is not barking, the dog is not doing anything. But the moment you see the dog, what happens to you? Fear comes inside you. I just gets activated. So in your system, without no any reason, because you saw the dog, Rajas gets activated. This is what happens to Prakriti. When Purusha comes close to Prakriti, Rajas gets activated. The moment Rajas gets activated in you, when you see the dog, then all the manifestation inside you happens. Either you run, do something. It sets about a chain reaction. Like that, Prakriti gets activated. Prakriti, and the first disturbance that happens is Rajas. So you think about whether to stay there, look at it, or run away. Okay, or you'll bring about the other the thinking process. Okay, so you see that disturbs the 9:30 p.m. p.m. to 5 a.m. first. Sattva gets disturbed first. It disturbs the second fellow later, that is tamasic fellow later. Okay, then creation takes place. This is how creation takes place. Now, how did creation came? You look back. First, Rajas gets activated. Purusha comes close to Prakriti. Rajas gets activated. When Rajas gets activated, there is an imbalance of the rest of the gunas. When the rest of the gunas get disturbed, the first output that comes out of Prakriti is called as Mahat. Mahat is predominantly Sattva. Okay, and from this evolute, the rest of the creation starts. There is a material stream that starts with Tamas. Then there is a subjective stream that starts with Sattvic. But both happens because of the energy of Rajas. If there is no Rajas, manifestation will not happen on both these states. So Prakriti is disturbed by union with Purusha. Okay. How is it disturbed if they are separate? When Prakriti sees Purusha, it gets disturbed. Just like I gave you an example. But how originally first time it happened, God only knows. There is no explanation anywhere in the Sankhya Sutras anywhere. It just says, Prakriti gets disturbed. That's the lower. Rest of his manifestation. Okay. Rajaguna is disturbed first. Rajaguna disturbs Sattva. Sattva. What comes first is intelligence. Mahat is called as Mahat. Sattva. Mahat is referred to as virtue, knowledge, detachment, power, and power of reflection. Then violated by tamas, they become opposite. Sattva becomes opposite. When it gets contaminated by tamas, they exactly become opposite. So what is Mahat? So we'll look at we looked at each of the gunas, tamas, rajas, and sattvic. Then we look at what is Mahat. Later we'll see how Mahat, uh, transforms, it evolves into the rest of creation. It is called intelligence. So let me suggest to you here, intelligence is not an attribute of consciousness. So let me kind of allow your speculation to start work now. Intelligence has nothing to do with consciousness. So intelligence belongs to Prakriti. Okay? Intelligence. Mahat is intelligence because it comes from Prakriti. It is matter. Intelligence is matter. According to Samkhya, intelligence is matter. Then it has dominance of Sattva. We look at the buoyancy, luminance, all the qualities of expression. That is Sattva. It is nearness to Purusha. Okay? Why it is near to Purusha? You'll see later as you move up the process of creation, instead of going down towards creation and enjoyment, manifestation, getting entangled in the world, when you move up as a sadhaka through your sadhana, close to Mahat, you see that Mahat becomes it comes in proximity of Purusha comes in proximity of Mahat. It comes very closer. Purusha gets reflected in Mahat. Purusha starts seeing itself in intelligence. Ego comes in. Purusha starts seeing as ego. By mere reflection, it gets pseudo-consciousness. Purusha gets wrongly identified. This is what you and me are. Now, let me explain it. Okay. Now, what happens here is Purusha, unless he becomes conscious of his own self, before he is liberated, consciousness of itself, he gets entangled with Sattva. What is Sattva? Sattva is like a mirror. It is like a crystal, wherein it reflects whoever sees into it. Now, Purusha looks at Mahat, which is like a mirror, and gets identified with what is reflected in the intelligence, in Mahat. Please stay with me. What happens here? What happens here? Now, each one of us have this Mahat in us, or the highest level of intelligence in us, based on our samskaras, based on our previous experiences. The luminosity or the reflection characteristics is different from different person. An evolved person, he will be able to see a better reflection of his consciousness in his intelligence. That is where Krishna tells in the Gita, cleaning of the vasanas, so that you reflect your inner self, the purity of the inner self. Now that is what happens here. When Purusha, who is not yet liberated, who is just a potential to be liberated as consciousness itself, looks at Mahat. When it looks at Mahat, he sees a reflection. Just imagine somebody presented you with a mirror, beautiful mirror. I'm just creating the example, mirror is the Mahat. But what the designer has done is, he has tweaked the mirror in such a way that your ears look longer and your nose a little longer or your mouth a little wider. So you are a distorted image. So the guy who made this mirror, he presented it to you. Now when you look at yourself in the mirror there, what do you see? There is an ugly reflection of who you are not. This is what happens in creation. You and I are looking into our own intelligence of who we are as a distorted image. We get identified with the distorted image. And this is where the ego comes. This is called ahankar. The Purusha gets identified with the image that he sees in and ahankar, and he gets identified with it and he gets entangled there. And that is where the rest of the evolution starts. So ego comes in. Ego is pseudo-consciousness. It is like a reflection, which is not the pure reflection of who you are. Liberation means the Mahat is so clear. It is such a beautiful mirror without any distortion. That comes through sadhana. That comes through pure inquiry. Okay. Then the Purusha gets reflected. But remember, until the last trace of Sattva You are still in nature. You are still in Prakriti. The last stage of Sattva is gone. Then consciousness, which expresses itself as the ego, goes back to consciousness. Okay? So Purusha sees itself in intelligence. Ego comes in. Ego is a distortion of the consciousness. It's a pseudo consciousness. Purusha starts seeing as ego. You and I are all egos. If somebody tells you are Purusha, pure consciousness, it is a possibility. We are exploring it. But really, when you say, oh, no, no, I am the ego, because I'm getting, there's the reality of who we are. So Purusha starts seeing as ego. By mere reflection, it gets pseudo consciousness. Actually, it's not consciousness, but it's pseudo consciousness. But again, ego has to have the support of consciousness to exist, because ego sees itself as the reflection of consciousness. So Purusha gets wrongly identified. So wrongly identified. So this is the how each one of us get entangled in the process of creation. Okay. I think we'll stop here. And okay, so this is the gist of it. Now we have started with how creation starts from Prakriti, okay, and how Purusha gets misidentified with the ego, which is reflected. Now, friends, if you look at it, each one of us potential, tremendous potential. But what happens is our intelligence, our opinion of ourselves is limiting, because that is what we see in ourselves. But through sadhana, by transforming or transcending our limitations, the way we look at ourselves, we move to higher realms of manifestation. That is what is transformation. You look at a different, you see a different shift in who you are by sharpening your intelligence, sharpening the way you look at it. When you are able to, at least a major portion of your consciousness, you are able to reflect, then you have the source of power, the source of the witness, wherein it has all power to manifest again or liberate yourself. So Purusha sees as ego. So we'll stop here. Let us take some questions. Tomorrow I'm going to explore this completely with a beautiful chart. Then I'll also revisit some of the concepts of Purusha and Prakriti, so that it consolidates into a workable philosophy, so that you can go out into the world and experience what has been told. So we'll stop here, and I would like to take some questions.
Yeah, Guna, there are a few questions in the chat box.
Okay.
One question is from.
What is the purpose of Purusha in Prakriti? Okay, that's the question. Okay.
Yeah, there are a few more questions before that also.
Okay. Okay, can you please explain as to karma, past karmas, and rebirth? How will we choose a particular guna for a particular situation? Okay, how is relaxing tamas? If everything has come from Prakriti, how can we call as dualism? It is not. Is it not Advaita? Okay, Guru Vital. What is the purpose of Purusha in Prakriti? See, in fact, you should look at it this way. What is the purpose of Prakriti when it comes to Purusha? So all of us are Purusha, and we are entangled in Prakriti. Okay. Say Prakriti can be seen as bhoga. That means you enjoy life. Life is pleasant. Life is a series of experiences, beautiful experience, anubhavadhara. Okay. At the same time, life is also freedom, liberation. Now, what Prakriti, the purpose of Prakriti vis-a-vis Purusha is pure consciousness. And in conjunction with Prakriti, he gives meaning to Prakriti. He gives a sense of purpose to Prakriti. So also Prakriti supports Purusha in its endeavor to enjoy or liberate. Now, there is an example of Prakriti and Purusha. It is said that Prakriti is blind. She has got legs to walk. She has got a good body, but blind. But Purusha is lame, but he can see. So both of them, they help each other. They are in a forest. If they have to get out, what one must do? Purusha sits on Prakriti and shows the way. So it's a synergy between Prakriti and Purusha. That's how the existence comes into effect. Okay? The purpose of the entire evolution or Brahmanda, a universe, is how synergetically Prakriti works with Purusha, and Purusha helps Purusha to enjoy life. At the same time, it helps to liberate itself. Okay? That is the purpose of Prakriti with vis-a-vis Purusha. In fact, Purusha has no purpose. In fact, Purusha has no purpose. Once liberated, Purusha is fully, like Krishna tells in the Gita, Atmanaiva Atmanaha Santushtaha. The self, self experiencing itself as its totality is liberation. Okay, consciousness, when it is the rest in itself, is the ultimate beautiful state which it wants to be. It doesn't want to get involved with Prakriti. But because it is entangled with Prakriti, it wants liberation. And Prakriti helps in liberation of Purusha. The example given is cow gives milk. Milk is insentient, but it gives life to a calf. So like that, Prakriti helps Purusha to gain Kaivalya, yes, liberation. I hope, given I am a student like you, maybe I'm 1 or 2 steps ahead. So I'm not an expert. Okay. Uh, so can you please explain as to karma, past karmas, and rebirth? Actually, what is karma? Karma is action. Action prompted by desire. Where does the desire arise? Desire arises in the uh, mixture of gunas. It is the gunas that give you desire. Gunas create the prakriti inside you, and it is the prakriti which makes you desire. Okay, and that is what helps you to do karma. Okay, it is a very big subject. We will be. I'll try to answer it in subsequent sessions. Okay, the only thing I can tell you is prakriti is very strong. Depending on the prakriti that you are constituted of, you will have desires. If tamas is dominating in you, you will have a different kind of desires, and based on that desire, your karmas are different. Okay, but each karma is accumulated until you wash off all these karmas. There will not be liberation. But Sankhya tells, if you can intellectually penetrate the universe and access your Purusha, all the karmas get burned. That means the you bring your prarabdha karma from Sanchita karma. Okay. When you are operating your prarabdha karma, you don't have to do further karma like the agami karma. And if you can be liberated in this janma, even your Sanchita karma gets burned. It's purely through consciousness, purely through intellectual penetration of the process of transformation. Okay. How can anxiety thoughts change to be back without anxiety by this method? Okay, beautiful question. Now, what is anxiety? Anxiety is more a mixture of rajas and tamas. You become anxious because you do not know how to step out, take action. You know, one of the aspects of tamas is avaran. It covers your intellect. It covers your intelligence. Okay, and rajas it makes agitate. Now, can anxiety thoughts change to back to without anxiety by this method? It is to increase sattva. When you increase sattva, the avarana power of tamas comes down, rajas gets cooled. Like yesterday, I answered somebody, when you do yoga, when you do any physical activity, rajas comes down. When you do pranayama, your tamas comes down. So automatically your sattva goes up and your anxiety comes down. Prayer, meditation, doing selfless activity, these are all process sadhana by which you can improve sattva in you, which gets rid of anxiety. And can we choose a particular guna for a particular situation? Yeah, why not? For example, when you are early in the morning, you are in a prayerful mood, you exploit that situation to bring about sattva. That is situational quality of gunas. But again, like adopting methods, you can choose a guna. Okay, suppose you want to study, maybe you do a 5 minutes of meditation and study. Your sattva has improved. That means you have brought in sattva. You have chosen sattva. Or if you want to get into the gym and work out, you want to bring up rajas, you do a warm up. The moment you warm up with a little more rajasic activity, you get into rajas. You get into a challenging mood. How is relaxing tamas? Like I said, tamas is inertia. It reduces rajas. It's like, you know, when you are excited, you are stepping on the accelerator. Tamas is applying the brakes so that you halt. You halt the process. When you halt the excited process, you relax. That is why tamas is relaxing. Hmm? Tamas is also taking a peg of whiskey. That is also tamas. It is also relaxing for some people. For some people, lying down is relaxing. Some people taking coffee can be relaxing. Or talking to a good friend can be relaxing. It is reduce rajas. If everything has come from Prakriti, how can we call as dualism? Okay, everything has not come from Prakriti. Only matter comes from Prakriti. But the other, now Sankhya is a dualistic philosophy compared to Advaita. You can later say, you know, even Prakriti is part of Brahman. It also dissolves in Brahman. Purusha also dissolves in Brahman. But that is fine. If that is acceptable, that is fine. But for the purpose of Sankhya, it is dualism because it distinguishes what is Prakriti, it distinguishes what is Purusha. Purusha has different attributes which is opposite to Prakriti, and Prakriti has a different aspect. Okay, so manifestation is a conjunction of both Purusha and Prakriti. So it is dualism. Dvaita. say the thing is, instead of debating what is ultimate, let us walk the path. If you are traveling from Bangalore to Mysore, if your destination is Srirampatnam, okay, it is also along Mysore. Instead of stopping at Srirampatnam, if there is the possibility of Mysore, go to Mysore. So when you are on the path of dualism, then you can go to non-dualism, monism, or non-duality. That's also.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Guna. Now we close. It's been about 9:20 already.
Actually, Mr. Guna has really clarified many concepts. I was a bit confused earlier. After attending this session, I feel confident that yes. Thank you so much.
His understanding of the subject is deep. He's a scientist, an inventor, an engineer. His approach is not like a Swami, his approach is entirely different. So that gives him a viewpoint, which is very, very important in today's world. We have to reach a point where science and spirituality can merge. And Samkhya is probably that literature where it is merging, but it is not being recognized. So that is our attempt to show this to the world and mainly to the Indian community. And this is the Bible of manifestation. So once you understand this philosophy, the science, you can create anything in your life. You can create a new universe also for yourself. That is the power of this subject. And we are extremely grateful and thankful to Dr. Guna for having spared so much time. It is not easy to make presentations like these. And he's covering it from a very wide perspective. It's like a technical presentation. So a lot of thanks from our side to him. And I'm sure once we share this presentation with you in a recording format, all of you will have plenty of time to go through it. And if you have questions, Dr. Guna will be always available. He'll be more than happy to answer you. And I'm sure it will come in handy to many, many people in this country and otherwise also in the world. Yeah, Dr. Guna, thank you so much.
Thank you so much from me also. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
So, Dr. Guna, thanks once again from behalf of all the participants here.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, and I would like to thank him from behalf of the Millennial Mindset community also. Dr. Guna, though, is a very good friend, but he has done extraordinary work in creating this presentation and giving it to us. I'm sure all of you will take benefit. And when I say you can create a universe, I really mean it. Brahma Rishis in this country have studied Samkhya and created new stars, new galaxies, and new universes for themselves. Okay. And you will be stunned. They say there have been 297 Brahma Rishis in India. And out of them, only 3 were sannyasis. 294 were householders. So we can do it. Dr. Gunashekar is giving you that technology, that protocol by which it can be done. Okay, fine. Thank you so much. Good night to all of you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Good night to both of you.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
Thank you.